Hi everyone, welcome back to another video here on Play on GAA. Today myself and Luke are going to give a roundup of the pre-season tournaments in the Hurling Championship across Munster and Leinster. And we'll start off with the result that really jumps out at you. Kerry getting a landmark victory over Tipperary, winning by 3 points, 17 points to 14. Even though it's in a pre-season tournament, Luke, a victory like this is absolutely huge for Kerry Hurling.
Yeah, completely. And I know they were coming up against a depleted enough Tipperary team, but it was definitely not as weak a team as some people were suggesting in the media, I suppose, after. So yeah, it's a big result for Kerry, and they were probably for full value for that win and could have won by even more than 3 in the end, because like they were constantly in control of this game, and look, they limited Tipperary to only 3 points to play in the entire game. So that's just it's great going, really. And in the second half, only one of them from play too. So yeah, I think Kerry were well worth that win, and yeah, some really positive signs. Once again, kind of some big players for them like Shane Conway, Shane Nolan, Phil McAsey kind of stepped up the most, I think. So yeah, they were probably the best of the day, I think, for Kerry, and yeah, they'll be very happy with that, and they'll get their crack at Limerick out the next day. And yeah, I suppose for their sake, I hope hopefully Limerick are trying out kind of a few lads to test out their panel. So yeah, and if so, Kerry they'll go into it hoping to have a good old crack at them.
Yeah, and what a start. Obviously, new manager Stephen Malumphey, former Waterford hurler. Not a bad start for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I think it's these are the kind of competitions that Kerry really they really value. You can tell by the strength of the team they put out. It's pretty close to as full strength as they could be. They had a few new additions as well, with Paddy Ahern and Lewis D coming in from Limerick clubs, recently transferred to Kerry, and look, both of them seem to hit the ground running. So they'll be really happy with those additions. But at the same time, I wouldn't be too concerned as well if I was Colin Bonner or Tipperary fans just yet, because yeah, Tipperary, I think, as opposed to a lot of other counties, they seem to have just completely excluded their Fitzgibbon Cup players and have just told them to go off and just to focus on the Fitzgibbon Cup, because what we saw, I suppose, the weekend was a lot of kind of fringe lads from the panel last year, and yeah, and a lot of the young talent that's coming through that would be expected to do really well. The Fitzgibbon Cup were kind of completely left out. So yeah, I suppose that's probably the saving grace, I suppose, for Tipperary. But then at the same time, you do have to note there were some big names like Dan McCormick was involved, Colin Barrett was involved, Owen Conley, Robert Byrne, Paddy Cadell, Craig Morgan. These are all players that have had a lot of time playing for Tipperary lately too. So you can't diminish Kerry's achievement here. But at the same time, Tipperary will know that they're come the league, they're going to be an awful lot better and a lot sharper than they were here.
Yeah, no doubt. And speaking about managers getting off to a good start, King Henry Shefflin, his first match in charge of the Galway senior hurlers, ended in a victory, winning against Offaly by 2 goals and 19 points to 19 points, beating his former teammate Michael Fennelly, who is, of course, the Offaly hurling manager. But I mean, Galway, good performances there. He included the likes of Brian Kincannon in the side, but he also included a lot of new faces in the Galway side. And there were some good performances there. He did admit to the media that he tried to talk Joe Canning into coming back into the Galway side, but to no avail, which to me is a real shame, because I think Canning working under Henry Shefflin, I think we would have seen something really special from Canning again. But he is going to stay out of the Galway panel in 2022. But a good start for Henry and a good start for Galway.
Yeah, I actually think this is a really great start for Galway. I was looking at the team that was named, and like not a lot of familiar faces, I think, to neutrals that and the fact that they managed to come out with a win against a pretty strong Offaly side with a lot of fellas that have been playing pretty consistently for the last couple of years, I think is testament to the players that Henry's managed to find pretty quickly to bring in. Like, you look at some of the names, particularly in midfield, like Ronan Glennon and Ronan Murphy, probably for fans outside of Galway, definitely wouldn't have known these two lads in midfield, and both seem to do very well in the day. Like Ronan Glennon in particular hitting 3 points from play from midfield, so that looks to be a bit of a find. And the other one as well, like, I think a lot of people were excited to watch Donal O'Shea, and yeah, I suppose after Jason Flynn leaving early enough into the game that he took over the freeze, was very assured on him, and then ultimately hit the goal at the end to seal the deal. So some really good talent, I think, obviously coming through in Galway, and it's some of those players that won all those minor championships in a row, starting to emerge onto the team. Like you look Connor Walsh in there at the half-backs line. And then also as well, John Fleming from underage teams in recent years too, starting to get starts as well. So some very positive signs from Galway. And I think perfect start for Henry.
Yeah, without doubt. There's no doubt that's exactly the start he wanted. And another manager who got off to the exact start that he would have wanted, Darragh Egan, who is in charge now of the Wexford senior hurlers. He got off to a great start, beating Laois by 127 to a goal and 16 points. Youngster Richie Lawler hit the back of the net for Wexford. I mean, that was the key moment in the game which saw Wexford win. But Egan, of course, taking over from a man like David Fitzgerald, this is exactly the start that he would have wanted.
Yeah, and he too as well managed to get a nice little mix of experience, but also young lads coming through there as well. Like you already talked about Richie Lawler, he's a huge prospect coming in there as well. But also Oisin Pepper as well was in there. Dunn in the corner forward as well was taking frays very well too. And also you got Ross Banville coming off the bench too as well. So I think it's a perfect start as well that they managed to get like a very good performance. Really, really high score line, and I suppose like this Wexford team, you can't write them off as well as long as they have the likes of Rory O'Connor can kind of continuing to develop, Kevin Foley, and also really importantly, I think Paddy Foley's return back to the panel. He played centre half back today, and so he's supposedly very, very good, scoring 2 points from centre back. He's a huge addition. And look, I think they missed him massively last year. So look, I wouldn't be surprised if Wexford get back on track pretty quickly, and they could well be my dark horses, I think, for Leinster Championship this year.
Yeah, without doubt, they have a very, very good core of that side, and they're a very, very hard-working team, and they can take it to anyone really on their day. The last result then in the Walsh Cup, Dublin beating Antrim by 2 goals and 27 points to a goal and 21. The Saffrons led by 8 points in the early stages after Declan Murphy's 3-pointer, but Maddie Kenny's side turned it around. Goals from Cian O'Sullivan and Colin Curry get the job done at Parnell Park. Dublin off to a good start this year.
Yeah, and I suppose like in the build-up, I think to the pre-season, and we were talking about our players that we were expecting to emerge. We went with Sean Curry, but it actually turns out anyway, the younger brother Colin anyway was the one that absolutely shone, and he looked to be really, really good and really suited to this level. So look, I think that's a huge plus, I think, for Dublin. That look, Sean Curry's going to be a great player as well. But the fact, like another player putting his hand up as well in his brother Colin, he looked really good in the phrase, got his goal as well. So yeah, I think that could be a huge find as well. Other new standouts, I think Luke Walsh in cornerback looks pretty good too. So, and as well, Aidan Mellett was a late inclusion in the team. He had a great club campaign for Ballyboden, and he looks to be a real option in the kind of midfield half forward line because very good player kind of with the ball in hand. So I think Matty I think was delighted with the work that they put in anyway. And look, the results, I suppose, after an absolute nightmare start going 1-8 to 3 points down, after that game, look, Dublin just completely took over the game. And barring that first 15 minutes, it was a pretty perfect, I suppose, first day out for Dublin. So yeah, I think they'll be very happy with that. And I think just keep watching out to see maybe there might be some new faces coming in of lads that are kind of involved with Fitzgibbon Cup maybe later on in the league.
Yeah, without doubt, it'll be very interesting to see how all the county panels take shape from the pre-season tournaments to the actual league and then the championship. So, guys, that is Play On GAA's roundup of the pre-season tournaments in the hurling championship. Galway 219, Offaly 19 points, Kerry 17 points, Tipperary 14 points, Wexford 127, Laois 116, and Dublin 227, Antrim 121. Keep an eye out for all our other content. And don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. And until the next video, guys, take care.